Welcome everyone to our integrative Sukkot flow. I'm so excited to welcome you to this practice. If you have a block, that would be helpful. If not, you can bring a water bottle or cookbook. That's fine too. And of course, the four species here are welcome, but not necessary. I'd like to start with sharing how the four species are really related to the body and how when we gather them together, and Sukkot is the ingathering festival where we bring together and unify, we can really start to examine the places in ourselves that need unification, that need to be brought into union and need to be integrated with our full selves. So first we have the Lulav. This is the connected to the spine as it resembles the spine. It's also the very masculine species of just linear and um, downward flowing. So then we have the esrog, which is connected to the heart. Actually, the Sphira of Tiferet, which is located in the heart, is known to be an esrog yellow color, like this, energetically. We also have the Hadassim, which resemble the eyes. Can you see it? And here are the Aravot, which resemble the lips. So, in all of our poses today, I want us to be thinking about how's our spine? What is it doing? Is it aligned? Is it sturdy? Is it flexible? How is our heart? And where is the heart placed in the posture? What are our eyes looking at, visualizing? Are we gripping with our eyes, or is there softness and love in the eyes? And then with the mouth, metaphorically, what words are we saying to ourselves? What affirmations are we using? What prayer is coming off of our lips? And in every pose, bringing awareness to these four species. And one beautiful thing is that when we unify the four species, we're actually unifying all the areas in Israel, all the ecological centers in Israel. So the lulav is grown in the desert, and the etrog is picked in the coastal plains. The hadassim are from the Myrtle Mountains, and the aravot are from the riverbeds. So when we unify these in our body, we also unify our inner landscape. So let's explore our inner landscape with these four ecological areas, unifying and bringing together our body, which is our land. So close the eyes and sense where your inner desert lies. Maybe a place that hasn't been tended to for a while, hasn't been cared or loved. Maybe a place that's infertile. Find your desert in the body. And maybe explore, where is your inner coast, your infinite, expansive self? Where in your body feels like the coast? And then the growth of the Hadassim, the Myrtle Mountains, where in your body feels tall, revealed, strong? Where is your mountain within? And then lastly, the Aravot, where in your body feels like the riverbeds, fluid, effortless, easeful, flowing, going with the tide. And then place your hands on the low belly. This is our inner sukkah, the womb. The sukkah is known as the womb of God. So finding our inner place of gathering. This is in yoga known as the Hara center, where we gather all these parts of ourselves into wholeness, into unity and safety, a feeling of deep presence and allowance, accepting all parts of ourself, witnessing every piece of ourself in our inner landscape. And let's take 3 deep breaths into the inner sukkah, into this low belly. Inhale, fill up the palms, filling up breath of compassion. And exhale, the navel sucks back towards the spine. Let's take 2 more breaths like that. Inhaling, filling up the womb space with rachamim, and the root of rachamim is rechem, the womb. We're in this womb, this aura of compassion, of divine mercy. Exhale, the navel draws back towards the spine. One more inhale, fill up the belly. And exhale, draw it back. Beautiful. So we're going to come into a seat, and this practice will be largely around the Lulav, which is the piece of integration that connects the higher and lower worlds cosmically and also in the body. It's the bioenergetic force that flows between the mind and the body. And the Hebrew letter of the Lulav looks like the Vav. The Vav is a straight channel of godliness from Shemayim, from heaven, down into earth. So let's unlock this power, this force of the spine, bringing the hands to the shins first to target the low back. Using your breath, we're going to pump forward and back, rocking to the front of the pelvis and the back of the pelvis. Unlocking that low energy of the spine. The lowest part of the spine is the element of earth. And especially if we've been seated a lot or stagnant, this is a great place to introduce fluidity and unlock the spinal fluids from here, from below. Next, let's bring the hands to the knees. Keep going. Now we're moving up to the thoracic spine, pressing the heart forward and back, unleashing this powerful spinal energy that is spiralizing up. Follow your own breath cycle. And then find a long spine. So the cranium is above the pelvis. These are actually our 2 skulls. We have the cranial skull and the pelvic skull. They're the 2 locks. And the cranium should just float right over the sacrum and the pelvis. You can think of the pelvis as having 2 iliums, which are like cylinders that climb upwards, like a big bowl that climb upwards, holding all the energy and life force in the pelvis. And the crown jewel, which is at the very top, is lifting up. So we're going to isolate the trapezius muscles, inhaling shoulders to the earlobes, exhaling down. Keep going. This unlocks the lower spinal fluid into the neck, lifting up into the cranium and out through the skull. And drop the shoulders down. Let's do some nice neck rolls. Ah, we're letting that cerebrospinal fluid, which has upward ascending pathways and downward ascending pathways, flow freely through the spine. And the gematria of Lulav is the same as Chaim, which is life, because it's our life force that's being unlocked and unleashed from the very bottom of the spine all the way up and out through the crown jewel, right up here. Now come to stillness. Let's bring the right hand on the kasser, the crown of the head, and the left hand onto the very lowest part of the spine. And these are the two energy locks that allow the fluid to circulate upward and downward through the spine. So we'll take some circular breaths here. You can find your own breath cycle if you want a particular breath that activates this CFS fluid channel, and it flows the energy in and around and through the spine. We can think of the front body as the yin channel, the feminine, the lunar sphere, and the back of the body from the skull down to where your left hand is placed, this is the yang channel, which is the solar, the sun, the masculine. So the inhale we collect at the womb, the sukkah, and then deepen even further from the navel point down to the pubic bone. This is where the inhale is collected, and the very energy force of the pelvis. The exhale is going to travel up the spine, over the neck, and to the crown. You can dip the chin as the breath is released through the crown of the head. The inhale comes down over the face, over the throat, the heart, landing deep right here in the low belly, the belly brain it's called. So we'll take a few breath cycles like that. Inhale, up the back body, chin dips, release it from the crown. Exhale as it flows over the front body, landing in the low belly. Keep going like this, 2 more breath cycles. And release the hands to the knees. We'll come into cat-cow. Let's press the palms into the mat, under the shoulders. Hips are over the knees. Inhale, we'll take a nice cow pose. Heart string pulling forward, pelvis lifting up. Exhale, round the spine, navel lifts in. Follow your breath. A healthy spine means we're using all the directionalities that the spine can move. So here we're going into a flexion and extension, unleashing the power of the spine, our ability to connect all the parts of ourself. Because a healthy spine has a healthy impact on all the organs of the body. Releasing stagnation into openness. And that's why we shake the Lulav, right? It's not a rigid spine. We're shaking the Lulav, unleashing the energy. Go as fast or slow as your spine desires. And bringing awareness to our 2 skulls, the cranium skull, which houses our brain intelligence, and the pelvic skull, which houses our deep body intelligence. the skull of the pelvis. A few more like this. And find a balance in a neutral spine over the palms and knees. Sensing the lulav straight, little flexible, a little sense of movement, but long, like a nice line. And we'll step the right foot forward. Sink through the hips. Lift the heart forward. The human is one of the only animals, maybe the only mammal, that has both a primary and secondary curves of the spine. So the lower part of our spine helps for locomotion, helps for stability. So sink the hips, find that locomotion. And then inhale, right thumb over left, lift up. The upper part of our spine allows for reaching, grasping, movement, and upward motion. Feel that nice, long, vertical movement, lifting through the fingers. Maybe lift the chin, lift the eyes. And in this pose, let's also notice the other species. So how are our eyes? Are they gripping? Can you soften them? Is the heart, the etrog, feeling open? Is it feeling compressed? And what words are you speaking to yourself? Can you also soften the lips and the words, the stories that are being told? Exhale, release the palms down. We'll tuck the left toes. We're going to lift the knee up. We're going to inhale into a full high lunge, resembling the Lamed, which stands for Lulav and is the Hebrew letter of the month of Tishrei. So inhale, sweeping up into your Lamed. The Lamed is the king of all letters. It's the highest one that reaches beyond all the Hebrew letters. So it's a lifting of the heart, a lifting of the fingers and the eyes. And exhale, palms down, left knee lowers. We'll take that flow a few more times. Inhaling into a low lunge, feeling those two aspects of the spine, of the primary and secondary curves, both the grounding elements of below and then the lifting of the upper parts of the spine. Exhale, sweep it down, tuck the toes, lift the knee into our Lamed, sweep it up. The Zohar calls the Lamed a tower that soars above the rest. Tishrei is a time where we leap like the Lamed into a spiritual elevation, into our highest selves, sweeping up. Exhale, palms down, left knee lowers. Again, inhale, sweep it up, right thumb over left. Lift the etrog heart, lifting through the aravot and the hadassim. Flexibility in the spine through the lulav. And exhale, palms lower. Last one, tuck the toes. Sweep up into your lamed. Lamed also stands for lev, the heart. So feel that expansion through the chest. Opening, growing, lifting. Exhale, palms down. Slide it back into a plank, pressing through the heels. And then hug the heels of the hands back towards the toes, activating the navel point. Feeling the spine sturdy, long, aligned. And then drop the knees lower all the way to the mat. Heart lowers. Reset the spine for a moment. Press the forehead down. Inhale, just lifting the heart off the ground, hugging elbow tips in. You can visualize that estrog yellow color radiating the heart, the seat of Tiferet, of integrative harmony. And then tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, Downward facing dog. Now this is an axial extension of the spine. So imagine that Lulav now. It's both compressing and extending. Let's take 3 breaths here, inviting compassion into the womb, into the inner sukkah of the low belly. Nice. Let's drop the knees. Let's take 1 cow. And then 1 big flexion of the spine, pressing into palms, lifting through the navel. Neutral spine, find your balance. This time we'll bring the left foot forward, sink the hips. Deepen into the fluidity and openness of the hips. This time we'll bring the left thumb over the right as we sweep the palms up, soften the gaze, float the heart. Exhale, palms to the mat. Tuck the toes, lift the right knee into our Lamed, sweep it up. Big Lulav spine. Lamed also stands for Lev Mavin Das, the heart that understands Das, or higher awareness. So we're letting the heart lead for a moment. And then exhale as we sweep the hands down, right knee lowers. Inhale it up. And exhale, palms down. Keep going at your own pace into a high lunge and then a low lunge. Bringing all of our attentiveness into the lulav, the spine, what our heart is doing, where the eyes are placed, and the mouth, the words, the stories. Let's take 1 more low lunge and then high lunge. We'll slide the left foot back into your plank. Feel the tailbone and then the crown simultaneously pulling away from each other in opposite directions. Yet they have a deep magnetic force, these 2 points. Feel the power of the core. And then we'll lower about halfway. Scoop the etrog heart up. Pinky toes plant down. Lift through the crown jewel. Exhale, tuck the toes back into your downward facing dog. So look at your down dog and how you've created this temporary dwelling, which is what a sukkah is. It's a place of impermanence. So see your body, see this impermanent stature that you've created. Remembering that our body, our life is fleeting. We're here in this body with this breath for just a few sacred moments, 1 fleeting lifetime. So if it's all impermanent, what is most important right now? What are we rooting to? Can we anchor into our faith? 3 breaths into the low belly. Inviting in rachamim into your rechem, compassion into your womb space. And let's look forward, step or hop to the top of your mat, folds, elongating the spine from the sacrum all the way down, the lumbar, the thoracic, the cervical, loosening through the neck and through the crown. And as we roll up, there's 33 vertebrae that correspond to the 33 contractions that the divine had to do from a state of infinite light into our physical worlds. So you can imagine God bringing life force through the vertebrae of the world. Let's bend the knees and roll vertebrae by vertebrae up. Sweeping the hands all the way up, lifting through the fingers. Exhaling, hands to the heart. And inhale, sweeping the hands to the sky. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, flat back. Hands can stay on the mat or lift them to the shins or tops of thighs. Exhale, fold forward. Let's step back into a plank. Chaturanga by deepening halfway. Inhale, scooping the heart up, radiating that estrog yellow of the heart. Shoulder blades gathering together, the top of the back. And then tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog into your temporary sukkah. Beautiful. Part of having a flexible spine is realizing that I can be rooted without being stuck. I can shake up my identity a little bit. I can have the freedom to explore new places, to invite in new life and find new spaces in myself. In Exodus, God says, I am who I am. That means that I am who I am right now in this moment, but I'm not putting limits on my being. I'm open to change. I'm open to a flexible spine. I'm open to shaking the lulav a little bit. Let's bring the knees down. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose, pushing down into the earth. What can we unleash? How can we remove stagnation into a freer state? One more, inhaling cow, exhaling cat. I am who I am. How freeing is that? I'm not stuck. I'm open to change. Let's step the right foot forward. We're going to come into like a seated downward facing dog. And part of the embodied waving ritual of Sukkot, it's really the most embodied mitzvah I could possibly have ever experienced. We're pushing the lulav, it's not gathered now, we're pushing away from the heart, and then we're pulling into the heart. And again, the spine, the lulav is masculine, the etrog is the feminine. So we're having this like push and pull. So when we push away from the heart, let's think of what can we remove? What can we release out of our space to create more flexibility in our being? And then what can we bring in? What can we invite into the heart? Now you can totally use your lulav. Mine's not prepared fully. You can also just use your hands. So deepen into warrior two. On the exhale, what are we releasing? You can say it out loud. I release anxiety. Inhale, what are we bringing into the heart? I invite in trust. Exhale, the waving out. Lulav hana anuim. I'm releasing anxiety. Inhaling trust that Hashem runs my life, that the divine is with me. Let's take 3 of these. You can deepen on the exhale and lift the right leg a little bit on the inhale. Let's take one more. It feels so good. And we do this in all 6 directions and the center, which are the 7 emotional spherot, the energy centers. To the right, to the left, to the front, to the back, above us, below us, and the center. Those are 7 points. Let's press into the outer edge of the heel, sweep the right hand up and over, big side body stretch. It's the lateral flexion of the spine. Nice big side bend. And then sweep the hand all around. Step it forward into your fold. Nice long release of the spine, bending the knees. And the element of Tishrei is wind. And wind allows for a flexible spine. So if you can just imagine you're waving in the wind, letting the wind take you right and left. We're not stuck. We're open to newness, flexibility, freedom. And bend the knees lightly. Inhale as we sweep all the way up. Exhale like we're pulling the Lulav into the etrog of the heart. Inhale, palms above us. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step it back into your plank. Lower halfway. Inhale, scoop it up. Lift through the crown. Press into the tops of the feet. Gather the shoulder blades behind you. And tuck the toes. Sink the hips up and back. Every breath is impermanent. Every fixture is impermanent. Stability is just an illusion. All we have is this moment. So let's be in it. What's most important right now? And we'll come onto the other side. Let's step the left foot forward. Just going to switch so you can see me here. Deepen into your warrior 2, seated. Feeling stability. Bringing our 4 species or imagining them right in front of you. Exhale, waving out through the ritual. Inhale, bringing in. What do you want to release? What do you want to invite into the heart? This is your place to play. Last one. And then open up the arms. Let's straighten that left leg, press into the heel. Lift it up and over. Big side body stretch. Lift through the top fingertips and press into the outer edge of the heel. Nice. And then sweep it to the front. Step forward into your forward fold. Palms to the mat. Coming into a forward fold, bending the knees, letting the spine drip downwards to the earth. And then with light knees, we'll inhale up those 33 contractions, sweeping the hands overhead, our full body resembling the Lulav from the soles of the feet up through the fingertips, allowing a new influx of energy through the whole body. And that's what the Vav is. It's a channel. It's like a chimney almost that we're breathing into. And exhale, hands to the heart. So we're going to practice and feel that there are 2 movements in the spinal fluid. There's a lifting up of the CFS, the cerebral spinal fluid, and there's also a descension. These are the two spinal tracks. And Kabbalistically, there are two types of spiritual movement. There's upward flowing movement, an arousal from below, and then a downward flowing movement and a arousal from above that drips down. And Tishrei, this month is unique in that it has both the elements. So the downward flowing movement is like the Vav, drawing down. We allow in blessings, abundance. Let's fold forward and then press them into the feet and palms. The upward flowing movement, we lower the knees slightly and we lift up our aspirations, our prayers. This is our tshuva, lifting up all of our hopes and desires. And the exhale, we receive and we implant down through the body into the ground. So let's take a few cycles like this. A very intricate dance between us and the divine, between the upper and the lower realms. Feel that nice balance between giving and receiving. And if the sukkah is the womb of God, there must be an umbilical cord. Just like Yaakov's ladder was like the umbilical cord between the upper and the lower realms, the angels that ascended and descended. And that place was right under the Temple Mount. There is a spiritual umbilical cord that connects us with the higher realms and allows it to flow downwards, light and energy. There's no right or wrong movements, just lifting up and down. Feeling your prayers float and ascend, and feeling the divine response come down. One more cycle. And we'll come into a forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, let's step the right foot back into a warrior one with the left knee over the left heel. Let's bring the hands over the crown. And Tishrei is a journey through the royal road of the body. Exhaling over the head, this is Rosh Hashana. And then further exhaling into the heart, this is Yom Kippur, the heart center. And then descending deeper from the forgiveness of the heart into the joy of Sukkot, down into our low belly, hands to the low belly, to the womb. Sweep the hands up one more time. Big inhale. And then exhale over Rosh Hashana, over the forgiveness of Yom Kippur, the heart space, and into the low womb belly. Sweep the hands up, fold forward, palms to the mat. Right knee lowers. Inhale, sweep it up, low lunge. Exhale, hands to the mat. Let's take a twist to the left. Reaching through the fingertips, lifting that left shoulder up and back. And then circling the arm to the front, tuck the back toes, step it forward, fold, release the spine. Imagining that sweet nectar of cerebrospinal fluid just unleashing through the spine. Rolling all the way up, lifting up the prayers, hands to the heart. And this time we'll step the left heel back into a warrior one on the other side. Circle the arms above the crown. Big inhale. And exhale over the Rosh, the head of the year, down into the heart where we removed blockages, we forgave, we expanded the heart, And now into the low belly, womb of Sukkot. This is our unbridled joy, our deep belly brain of just being. We're just in the Sukkah. We don't have to do anything. We just have to be embodied in the Sukkah. One more. Inhale, circle the arms high. Exhale down this royal road, this journey of Tishrei, landing at the low belly. Nice. And then bring the palms down. Low lunge on the other side, opposite thumb hooks. Lift through the heart into your lamed. Exhaling the palms down. Nice twist to the right. And circle the arm forward. Step it forward into your fold. Release. Let go. Let flow through the spine. Inhale, rolling all the way up. And exhaling, hands to the heart. Let's step into our temple pose. So sinking into the hips, opening through the knees. And we're going to find some fluidity of the spine. So on all 6 days, we tie the Lulav, but on the 7th day of Sukkot, we untie the Lulav. So untying the Lulav just means letting it loose, letting it go, letting it flow, getting out of stuckness into an open field of joy. So let any movements here that feel good for the spine. You can always straighten the legs. And also the Midrash says shaking the Lulav is the earth shaking with joy, the whole universe shaking with joy. So imagine our joy is always there, and maybe we have dust or dirt covering it, and we just have to shake off all of those external layers. Shine off that jewel, which is our diamond of joy. There are no rules here, just shaking the Lulav, unbinding. And then we'll lift into a star. Let that joy permeate all around us. Sukkot is the source of joy for the whole year, so feel it just expand from the cells to the organs to the skin, and then expanding from the skin into our aura space. And we shake the Lulav 6 feet around us. Kabbalah says this is our nefesh field. We're cleansing and clearing the air around us so that we can create this aura of joy. And we'll bring the toes in. Take your block if you have one. And you'll set the crown of your head on the block. Find that sweet spot for you. And then bring the hands in line with the heels. So you can bring your feet a little bit narrower if you're more flexible in the legs. And let your crown just deepen into the support of the ground. Feel the breath slow. Notice the Lulav spine, the etrog heart, the hadassim, the eyes, the aravot, the lips. And this pose, the primary point is the sacrum, which is the seat of the watery element, where all the CFS, that fluid from the spine, is unleashed and starts to spiral upwards into the skull. Now let's flip the palms so that the fingertips are facing behind you. And then walk the fingertips behind you. You can release the block here and walk the fingers as far back as you can. Let the crown keep dipping, extending the arms behind you, pressing palms into the earth. Nice. Let's lift all the way up, bringing the hands on the hips. Cartwheel the arms forward. Step it back, plank. Lower halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Each breath temporary, fleeting, yet so sacred. And on the exhale, let's drop the knees, kiss the toes together. Come into child's pose as you press the forehead down. Now, child's pose resembles the primary curve of an unborn child. So we're in this space of the Sukkah. In the womb of God, we become a child embraced in divine love, like the womb, surrounding us, giving us a hug. So feel that Sukkah of love around you, embracing you, a womb-like embrace. Feel that love and vibration pulsing all around you. And let's pull ourselves up into our cow and take a few cat and cows. The Gemara says that we shake the Lulav to disperse negative winds. And Tishrei is the element of wind. So if we're in a temporary sukkah and there's winds that sweep us out, that kind of mess with our feeling of stability, dispersing that negative wind means finding a rooted place within, rooting through faith, knowing that every fixture, every home is just temporary, and we have to find a deeper place to feel safe. That's what dispersing negative winds could mean in my interpretation. I'm sure there are many others. Let's slide forward into Sphinx pose. A deep extension of the spine, really nourishing pose for the Lulav spine. Let the top of thighs melt, hug the elbow tips back, press palms down. Feel the gentle opening of the heart. Lifting the crown jewel, the keser, the top of the skull upwards, and then the lower skull, the pelvis planting down into the mat. Let the breath carry the upward flowing movement from the bottom of the spine to the top of the spine. And the exhale, bringing down divine energy and influx from the crown down into the lowest part of the spine. And we'll release down, forehead to the mat. We'll lift up onto the knees. You can open the soles of the feet here by sitting on the heels, or just drop the hips over the heels And Tishrei is the hush, the sense of touch. Tishrei is a time of intimacy where we have an intimate relationship with the divine, but we also improve our intimate relationships with people in our life. And of course, it starts with the self. So being very attuned to where your hands are placed naturally on your body. Somewhere maybe that needs healing or nurture. Maybe how we started, the place in your body that's like a desert, that's not been tuned or nurtured in a while or loved in a while. Place your hands there. It could be at the back of the spine, could be on the heart, the throat, the thighs, wherever you need some touch. And let your touch be very soothing and gentle, like a sukkah hug. We're told that the sukkah is a divine hug because there's three big walls, like the arm, and then the palm, the half of the wall. It's like Hashem embracing us with his right hand. It's a very deep, intimate embrace. So give yourself that hug through chesed, through love and kindness, wherever you need a little bit attention and nurture. Feel the energy arising from the body into your palms, and then the palms giving off energy into the body. That dual relationship, that very reciprocal, sweet, circular relationship within yourself. And we'll release the hands, come onto your back. But don't worry, we can place our hands anywhere on the body that still needs some love. I'm going to choose my inner-sukkah at the womb space, but wherever you feel, wherever your hands naturally land, let them fall to your body, the sweet sense of touch, a gift of presence to yourself. Feeling the outer sukkah of love, of rachamim, and then your inner sukkah that vibrates with this gatheredness, this unity of being. And noticing the Lulav spine, first the primary curves, all the places that touch the mat. The skull, the top of the back, the sacrum, the backs of the shins and the heels. And then the secondary curves, everything that's off the mat, cervical spine, under the neck, the low back, little under the knees. Breathing into your spine, nourishing this super dynamic force of the body with your breath. Gratitude for this integration system that draws down higher to lower knowledge, that connects our body and our brain. And then become aware of the etrog heart. You can even bring your hands to this heart space. Noticing what your heart is feeling. Maybe a little congested, maybe expansive. Maybe we have that etrog yellow that pulsates through the heart space. And then noticing the hadassim, the eyes, and what you're seeing behind the black of the eyelids. Maybe there's a flash of color, a visual, or what you would like to see today. And then lastly, the mouth. Allow your mouth to just soften into a gentle smile. Intending to speak softly and sweetly to yourself and to others, to speak words of joy this Sukkot, and release the palms open. If you're in a sukkah, feeling the energy of the schach above you, the cover of the sukkah, which draws down like the umbilical cord of the energy from above, receiving the energy of the sukkah, receiving this love and compassion and embrace of the divine hug surrounding us. And if you're not in a sukkah, you can imagine where your sukkah ideally would be. You can be creative with this. Maybe it's by a bubbling stream or a meadow or the cobblestones of Jerusalem. See your ideal dream sukkah. And like you're hovering above yourself, zoom out. First seeing yourself laying down in your sukkah, and then zooming away to the full image of a sukkah and into the environment that you placed yourself. Surrounded by divine love. Let's take 3 inhales, bringing in the joy and the love of the sukkah into the being. And we'll roll to the left and push yourself up into a seated. Bringing the hands to the heart. The sukkah is one of 3 mitzvahs that is completely embodied. Other than the mikvah in the land of Israel, our full body needs to be in it. We're fully immersed. So thank yourself for just bringing your body here, showing up and being present. That's the lesson of the sukkah. Just be. There's nothing to do. Just be in the sukkah, all parts of yourself, welcomed and open. Thank you for practicing. Have a beautiful and joyous Sukkot.